I'm Freya.
And I'm Nick.
And you're listening to Humaning with a Difference. Welcome, I'm Freya.
And I'm Nick.
And we're so delighted you're here, and we're lucky enough to be interviewed today by a talented voice, Esther.
Nice to meet you, and I feel very fortunate and I'm very excited to hear more about the voices behind the Seeing Beyond podcast.
Yeah, thank you. And we're so happy that you've stepped up to the mic to interview us about why we do this.
Yeah, I totally agree, and looking forward to hearing the questions and what comes from it.
With any podcast, it's always very interesting to hear what happens behind it. How do people meet each other, and why do you make a podcast? So yeah, if it's okay with both of you, I would love to really go back at the beginning, and maybe Freya can start by telling me a little bit about what was your experience of meeting Nick?
Well, actually, it's quite mysterious.
Oh,
I don't want to get too woo-woo too quickly, but actually, I first encountered Nick when I was probably like 9 or 10.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I was a somewhat confused child at the time because I knew I didn't see what other people saw, like the blackboard. So I was in a bit of a state of confusion about that. It wasn't something that was really talked about or discussed with me. So I was sort of afraid and caught up in that mystery. And Nick came to my school, actually, and gave a talk about what it was like to live with vision loss and blindness. And so that was my first encounter with him. So it feels a little bit fated that we then should meet, 30-something years later and end up in a podcasting internship together. And my first practice interview that I did with Nick, he told this story. I didn't realize that it was him that had come and spoken at my school when I was this young, confused, alone kid. But when during this interview, Nick shared the story of how he lost his vision, I was like, oh my gosh, I've heard this story before. I was taken right back to my primary school.
Oh, wow. So you really remembered him visiting your school.
I remembered the story of how he lost his vision, which we share in another episode. But yeah, it's a very, very distinctive and memorable story. It's a story that, even an 8 or 9-year-old doesn't forget. So yeah, but then, yes, of course, we met at this podcasting internship at 2RPH, which was an initiative not just by 2RPH, but I think by Powered Media, aimed at getting more disabled voices into the media. And yeah, I feel really excited that we were given that opportunity by Powered Media and 2RPH because we have a lot to share, don't we, Nick?
We have a lot to share. And Freya mentioned how she was confused as a 9 and 10-year-old. What you don't realise, when I visited a school, I think I was confused.
I was going to ask you, Nick, do you remember giving these talks to these sounds like a lot of young children?
Yeah, I do remember. I went to quite a few schools, and often it was mentioned that there is a student at the school who was either blind or has low vision, and sometimes they would share that they may be doing well, or they think they could learn a lot from hearing about my story and the reason I was there. I was working for Vision Australia at that time. Well, Royal Blind Society in those days, but now Vision Australia. And when I say confused, I probably in many ways I was, because I was relatively new to presenting, so sharing my story and having different key messages that I would have gone to that school with that was important to share. And that was, for quite a few years, definitely a learning curve as far as presenting, and still is. We all learn and develop our skills, and ultimately, as Freya mentioned, the podcast opportunity internship came along, and I joined that along with 4 other people with disabilities, and it was a wonderful experience to be able to share and learn and have that camaraderie between us.
Yeah, wow. And then I must imagine, having met so many people presenting for them, I don't know if you would still remember Freya, but do you remember what it was like for you to give that? And especially whenever they would mention that there was, maybe someone in the classroom that could benefit from your story?
I'm confident I do remember going to Freya's school, and it was really good to think that my story would assist a young person and that they may benefit, because I knew what it was like going to a regular school and the challenges I was faced with, and they were quite challenging to go to a school where everyone else had their sight, and trying to deal with teachers, and some were good and some weren't so understanding. So it was always just quite nice to know that potentially I was able to connect and assist someone.
Yeah, and well, Freya remembered you like that. I feel like, or at least for me, it sounds like that definitely happened, and there probably are lots of people that remember you. But then, how did you guys then reconnect? What it was like at this podcasting internship? Can you tell me maybe a bit, Freya?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I'll just add to what you shared, Nick, which is, I was very confused and having some very dark thoughts about losing my vision, but also I wasn't getting much assistance because I was so good at coping and masking. And I think everyone took the approach that I was doing fine, and, I wasn't really getting any assistance. But I think when I heard you speak, Nick, it was I was like, oh, maybe it's not the end of the world. Like, if my vision gets worse or what's happening with me, like, I was like, Nick this man seems pretty happy, and he's totally blind. I remember you sharing how you identified a $2 coin.
Right.
And, did you used to include that in your talks, like identifying different money?
I would have, definitely, because it was something that was no practical way of demonstrating.
I was like, oh, well, if I can tell what a $2 coin is, I'll be fine. Like, I can take on the world with that skill. But I feel like it really also speaks to the heart of why we still enjoy each other's company. I mean, there's many reasons, but one of the reasons, I suppose, for this podcast as well is just sharing, how do you navigate these unique barriers and also enjoy life despite the presence of barriers. I feel like that's a really useful conversation to keep having, especially when it's in the context of exploring passions and contributing to the world in the many ways that we like to do.
And just to add to that is, onto your words there, Freya, in that vision loss is a significant disability for many people, and in my belief, we adjust to it. But I'm also very aware that people are at different levels of coping and adjusting, and if we can provide some support through our stories and sharing, I mean, that's a really wonderful thing to be able to do, and to provide that opportunity for people to hear and maybe the opportunity to open up and share their stories with other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I think not just for people who experience vision loss, but also just people in general who experience barriers, whether it's disability related or anything else. It's like, well, how do you keep going in the face of adversity? And that's really relevant right now, isn't it? I mean, the world is a shit show.
Oh, you're so right. And I do quite a lot of presentations, and a lot of my presentations are with people who don't have any obvious disability that I'm aware of. But as you say, a lot of these people are faced with adversity and challenges and just coping with life and the pressures that are often impacting on them. And it's really good to think that we can share and to share. And a lot of my stories and experiences have very little to do with blindness. It's just what other people are experiencing too.
Yeah, so true. But going back to your question, Esther, about what it was like.
Yeah, I was like, how did you guys connect again? I feel like, hey, I've just been here quiet, and I feel like you guys already have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, no, the internship, it was a really unique experience, wasn't it? And we were all very different people, but we all had lots of stories and experiences to share. But I have to say, Nick was very standoffish in the beginning. Although when we had our first introductory meeting, we all sort of gave an introduction to who we were, and I mentioned some of what I do. But then Nick piped in, "Oh, and you also do some acting."
That's
and
right.
I was like, "How does he know that?" Like, yeah. Beyond that, you were very much like keeping to yourself.
Yeah, I think I probably was. And probably part of that was sometimes I was a bit uncertain about what I'd be doing and how to do it, how I would interact with the other participants. And although I knew Freya from the past, I really wasn't 100% sure how to go about fitting. And I think that can happen.
Yeah.
And over the period of time, we got to know each other, and Freya probably was the one that was more like, "Can I join you? Can we do this or that?" And so you were really good at that type of encouraging me to be a bit more communicative and yeah. And I think probably at that time I had a lot of other things happening in my life too, which is sort of at times can impact.
Yeah. So I coaxed you out of your shell a little bit.
You did, yeah, which is unusual. Yeah, you did. You did.
But I says, well, you say you knew me, but see, that's the other thing. You say you knew me and you saw me in a play like 10 or 15 years earlier, but I don't think we ever met up until the podcasting internship.
I don't think in person, but I did feel as if we had a really strong connection. I've always felt that was the case, and I sort of followed when your name came up. I would sort of, my ears would go up and I'd listen. "Oh, it's Freya. Yeah, I wonder how she's going, and great to hear this and that, and your progress on the pathway of life."
Almost in some kind of like serendipitous way, you're just kept bumping into each other, whether the other person was aware of it or not.
Yeah, there was some sort of, it feels like almost ethereal connection happening there, where we sort of impacted each other without ever having met, or
Yeah.
we had impressions of each other and not even sometimes really knowing how.
And we moved in different circles of people, but ultimately the podcast was the thing that actually brought us into the destiny of coming together and learning about each other, and the podcast was the opportunity that came from that.
Yeah, it makes me I'm so curious. So like, if you've both spoken about like acting and presenting, but like, why podcasting of all things? Like, Freya, how did you decide like, oh, I'm going to learn about podcasting? Like,
well, I enjoy speaking. I also enjoy writing and acting. So different kinds of performance. I mean, I suppose I'm an all-round creative and sort of then just delve into specific passions. But yeah, I felt like I enjoy conversations. I enjoy people. I'm a very curious person. So when this internship opportunity came up, because I'm freelance as well, I find it's always good to take up new opportunities, to be in groups with new people, especially if they're sort of financially supported. I mean, it wasn't paid, but we were sort of given a stipend to attend. Just, to build networks and connections. And because I had done speaking and I had good feedback on my speaking, I thought, why not try podcasting? I also am obsessed with podcasts. They bring me so much joy to listen to. So and I had several people sort of say at different times, "Oh, you should do a podcast, you should start a podcast." So I just saw this opportunity and I thought, why not? Like, I have the flexibility to do it. And then during the internship, when the first time we used the studio at 2RPH, I actually interviewed Nick, and there was just like a beautiful energy in the air, a beautiful connection. It really flowed.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's when our connection was really established.
I think a strong connection bond was formed that particular afternoon, and it really came from nowhere. It was just basically, why don't you do an interview Nick, and you interviewed so beautifully, and that was a real connection that really helped. And similarly, I'm quite a creative person as well. I love speaking, I love writing, I'm curious. I don't do any formal acting, but I feel like I act a fair bit in my personal life. It's unpaid.
We'll have to dig into that, Nick. Where are you acting?
To think about that. Yeah, so, and it is around passion and pursuit and taking up opportunities that is important.
Yeah, wow. And then Freya mentions she listens to podcasts. What about you, Nick? Do you listen to podcasts as well?
I'm probably not as prolific as Freya, but I do love them, and probably have 70% of my time reading and 30% of my time listening to podcasts. Yeah, so it's a really important part of my life now, and probably very much an important part of a lot of people's lives.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. And so, having made so many, what brings up the idea of you guys' podcast? Like, Nick, how would you describe the podcast, or what people might hear from, the episodes you guys worked on so far?
The podcasts we've produced so far have been really very much about connecting and exploring the various important aspects of life, and whether it's around networking or around who we are and why we do certain things the way we do, and our thoughts around other aspects of vision loss and how we cope and manage with different things. One of our episodes around the silver lining, and through disability and adversity, often there is a silver lining. So we talk a lot about that aspect, and really they're everyday things that we are faced with and how we manage it, either as individuals or how we, especially over recent times, we've done things together that have been really quite intriguing, amazing, and where we've managed, and then we've spoken about, wow, okay, this is what happened and how we did it. This is potentially very good material for a podcast to talk about. So it's been a real discovery and learning process for me, and I'm assuming Freya too.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I have a slightly different perspective from you, which is kind of what having a podcast with someone else is about, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I feel like I do agree with what you say, but I think we're not so much speaking about how we cope as much as how we actually thrive, and what we love to do, and what lights us up, and what nourishes us, and feeds our energy and our spirit and our creativity. And of course, challenges are a part of that, but it's also about how we stay committed, I think, to making the most of life. And I'm thinking about, for example, the networking episode, even the silver lining episode. It's around exploring that, yes, there are some unique challenges that we face, but we grow from those challenges often as well, or from navigating and overcoming those barriers. So I think there's a lot of creative problem solving going on in our lives and in the podcast, but also our shared love of creativity really comes through, and exploring, well, how do we best enjoy our lives and best contribute and continue to connect and build communities and creativity. So I really feel like our podcast is about kind of getting the juice out of life.
And I agree too. In a lot of ways, it is around nourishment, and for me, it motivates me to look for future opportunities. I've always done that all my life, but through creativity and stimulation and motivation, often other things come out too, which is really important in life.
Yeah, and I feel like, for example, we have conversations around goal setting and accountability, and you're really good with that stuff, Nick, because I suppose you trained and you have a lot of really impressive sporting achievements, for example, in your life. And maybe I bring a lot of the sort of, I don't want to say ethereal, but
semi-spiritual.
The kind of energetic aspects, the kind of the alternative views, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, Nick, you probably can answer this better than have Freya herself. Freya just said what you really bring to the podcast. What do you think Freya really brings to the podcast?
Freya definitely brings a lot of energy, a lot of rationale to it as well, and a great balance of her ability to share and to. I think your advocacy background helps too, in the sense that you are very much aware of other people and community, and I love that about you. And you have a tremendous level of spirituality, for want of a better word, but that's the way I sort of feel, that you add a lot of energy to that, and a great balance for me.
Thank you, Nick. And yeah, thank you for sort of putting inverted commas around the word spirituality, because I don't, I think that word has been sort of corrupted and can be misunderstood, but it's hard to know then how to describe some of those elements that I do bring. But I'd say that I'm a seeker. Many, I suppose, in quotes, spiritual people, but seeking often means like searching for, the best way to live life for me and how I can best contribute and offer things to other people. But also thank you for mentioning my advocacy background, because I think I still bring elements of that, but I am also finding the balance around advocacy for myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I love, and you mentioned this word earlier, to be curious is a very important part of your life. And I find that with that, you discover lots of other things that you either would like to do or can contemplate doing or talking about, and that will often lead to discussion around future podcasting. So curiosity is a very big part of your being, and a real strength.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it is part of my nature, which I do treasure.
Having had, of course, an early listen to some of the episodes, I feel like there's both a lot of curiosity and exploring and adventure. And I think when you talk about goal setting, I think anyone can get something out of that, because to set your goals, you have to you often have to get out there, and lots of different people will face lots of different barriers. But I think hearing conversations about people that, go out there and do whatever it is, like in the embodiment episodes that I have heard a little bit about, I feel like that's so fun and interesting. And I think it will be great to hear lots of what you guys are going to do.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank
Esther.
you.
And I do feel like we are both quite unique, borderline eccentric people.
I agree. Absolutely.
So,
not always easy to, I suppose. We are. The word unique is quite true, I think, in many ways, and at times I definitely can be a bit standoffish, and that could be part of my introverted nature. Although many people think I'm extroverted, but and that's all just part of our nature and the way we are.
yeah. And I feel like everyone is unique. That's where I say maybe eccentric. And it's funny. I mean, I would describe myself as weird, but I was actually listening to something. See, this is me all the time. Oh, I heard in this podcast. No.
Which is why it makes total sense that you're making a podcast. Right?
Yeah. But it was talking about the word weird and how wonderful. It was actually a podcast called Return to Weird. And
do you know who made the podcast or where you found it?
It'd be on Apple Podcasts. That's where I listen to my podcast. But I don't.
I'll try to find it. I'll try to see.
Okay. Yeah. But it was kind of like the person who was interviewed was saying how much they loved the word weird, and that weird actually, before it meant sort of odd, it had another meaning that was more associated to sort of spirituality or seeking or, even witchcraft. And then it was sort of the meaning of the word weird was kind of corrupted along with the oppression of, witchcraft and everything else. So I reclaim the word weird, and I feel like in some ways I am pretty weird and proud. So I think that's another thing that listeners can get out of it if they feel like someone who might identify with being a bit weird, whether it's
Well,
on the inside or the outside, it's like, it's embracing being different.
and the good news is now I feel comfortable if I actually do refer to you as being weird, that it won't be upsetting and that you like it. So that's a real bonus.
I love that. I will definitely be reclaiming the word weird now. I am also weird. I love being weird, and I think it's great to take this word back as something positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're all celebrating being weird.
And weird is often synchronous and aligned with greater forces.
I like it.
And I guess that's our podcast host.
Yeah.
Is there anything before today we close and before someone might click on the first episode, what would you like to say to them?
I think for a first-time listener, I would like to think that you can listen to two people talking about things that they can hopefully relate to and share and give and contemplate, and know that we are let me speak on my own behalf because Freya will on her own behalf, that I'm a basic person or just a human being, that I see myself as unique in the sense that I don't think there ever has been anyone or ever will be the same as me, same as every other person that's born. But I have this opportunity to be able to share some of my lifetime experiences and to have that really lovely benefit of having another creative person in order for that to happen. And it's a really lovely way to be able to put that into the airwaves for people to hear.
Yeah, wow. And what about you, Freya? Do you have a message for your listeners?
Firstly, just grateful to people for tuning in and giving us a chance as, newbies in the podcasting game, not in life, but, and that I feel we really record in the spirit of kindness and an honoring of being human and life itself, and invite the listeners to step into that field as they listen with us. And just thank you again for taking the time, and hope you enjoy and that it's of value. And any feedback, the good, the bad and the ugly.
Yes.
We're really open to hearing it. We'll probably
Absolutely.
set up an email in the notes so that people can write in with any reflections they feel to share or any questions or to be in touch. But I think this podcast is really made in the spirit of connection and creativity, and hoping it's a two-way conversation and has impact and value. And I think that's enough said.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm excited to listen and to share, and thank you guys both so much. I'm sure everyone will be very excited now after hearing you guys be so excited about it. I think we can all feel it.
Oh, thank you so much, Esther, and thanks everyone for listening and giving us a go.
Thank you for tuning in to Humaning with a Difference.
You can find our contact details in the show notes, and happy humaning.